Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Today, James Webb, what is it? What's the name? Who discovered billions and billions of galaxies, and cosmos is expanding. Okay, so billions and billions of galaxies and the cosmos is expanding. How is it related to Brahman, or is there relationship to Brahman? Upanishads also describe the creation, Srishti. But the purpose of describing creation of Upanishads is for us to recognize the reality of creation. As Pujya Swami used to say, Vedanta talks about the realities of life. Life consists of the Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, myself, the universe, Ishvara. So what's the reality of the individual? What's the reality of universe? What's the reality of the creator? Whether billions and billions of galaxies are all, they form what we call the universe that you experience. Here and there, Upanishads may describe the dimension of the universe also. The Upanishad's primary objective is to reveal the reality of the universe. Reality of the individual, reality of the universe, reality of Ishvara. And what Upanishad explains is that the creation or universe is mithya. Mithya meaning that is not quite what it appears to be. Because we know that everything in the universe or creation is changing. Everything is constantly changing. So change, that's the nature of things. So when something is changing, how do you determine its nature? Because you determine something, next moment it's different. Therefore, that of which you cannot determine the essential nature, you cannot describe it as such and such, it's called mithya. Anything that is changing is mithya. What is changing always requires a changeless reference or a changeless substratum. For example, even when I recognize the changes taking place around me, there has to be a reference point which does not change. Isn't that the change can be recognized with reference to something that does not change. The traffic patrolman, when he wants to catch somebody, is a reference point. From this and this motorist took so many seconds from there to here, he calculates what the speed is and gives him a ticket. So you require a reference point which is fixed and then determine the movement. So the way Vedanta looks at it, that the fact that the universe is constantly changing shows that there must be a changeless reference. And please tell me, who can be their changeless reference? What I perceive is constantly changing. Who must be the reference? With reference to whom or which I recognize the change. Who must be the changeless? With reference to which I recognize the change. Everything around me, outside me is constantly changing. There is some reference in comparison to which I recognize the change. Who should that changeless reference be? The self or consciousness. But understand that even in self also things are changing. Right now the self that I am is a speaker. Sometimes later that self will become a listener, walker, talker. So and this self also is constantly changing. So there must be a changeless reference in walker, talker, eater, drinker. I think we talked about it yesterday. Atma iti upasita, one that pervades us. They are all roles. Speaker is a role, listener is a role, walker is a role. And who is it that is performing this role? Who is it that pervades all the roles? That's called Atma. That's the self. That is what is a reference point, that which does not change. Therefore, to recognize the changeless, you cannot continue to focus your attention on what is changing, but we must turn our focus around to that with reference to which things are changing, and that is the self. So that way the scientists are also trying to find out what is the truth of the universe. And Vedanta also reveals what the truth of the universe is. Except that a scientist is looking for the truth in the universe itself, Vedanta says truth of the universe is not in the universe. It is that which gives reality to the universe, which illumines the universe. That is satta, sfurti. So Vedanta also wants to recognize or understand the reality of the universe. But the method of Vedanta is different. Vedanta realizes what is changing is mithya, and mithya must have a basis in satyam. Where the mithya is, satyam must be there. And satyam is the self. So whether the galaxies are countless galaxies are there. Whether the cosmos, it is of a different interest. To understand the galaxies, to understand the expanding universe is another thing. It's very fascinating. But by itself it does not reveal the reality of the universe. You follow? So Vedanta doesn't discuss how many galaxies there are or what it is. He says the things are all changing. And there must be therefore a changeless substratum. The self is a changeless substratum. So that is a way of the deliberation of viveka, vichara that Vedanta carries out. How is it related to Brahman? Brahman is changeless. The change, as we said, calls for an unchanging reference, substratum. So Vedanta explains that the changing universe is mithya, is superimposition. The substratum is Brahman. It's very interesting how Einstein exactly said this. That the universe is a projection. The three-dimensional universe is a projection of a reality which is multidimensional. Or four-dimensional, n-dimensional, whatever. But that he could recognize. That we are not gifted to see the fourth dimension. He said, suppose we could only recognize two dimensions, then we will see only like the shadows. From shadow then you have to project, what the real thing is. So we recognize three dimensions of something which is of which this is a projection. And that's how they try to understand the reality of which this is a projection. Brilliant people. But if they had studied Vedanta, I guess that whole task would have been somewhat easier. Because Vedanta says that this is a projection, which Einstein also said. Projection requires a substratum. And the substratum is the very self, the subject. Druk drishya viveka. Druk, the subject. Drishya, the object. The subject becomes the substratum of the object, like in dream. Therefore, Vedanta does not explore the dimension of the universe, generally speaking. It examines the reality of the universe. But ultimately we are interested in what is the truth or what's the reality. So Vedanta understands this much. That the universe that is constantly changing is unreal or mithya, which must have an unchanging or changeless substratum, which is Satyam. Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. This is a famous statement that Jagat is Mithya, Brahma is Satyam. So that's the relationship. So what's the relationship that Brahman has with the universe? Brahman provides a very Satta Sphurti. Brahman provides the existence, provides the dynamism. Brahman provides that to the universe. That because the universe is That because of it the universe shines, that because the universe is useful, that is Brahman. By itself, the universe doesn't have the existence, the intelligence. It's because of Brahman substratum that provides the existence, the intelligence. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, thank you. So, is it on? It's on. Is the changeful, is it also Brahman?
Changeful ultimately is Brahman, but not as changeful. Because change is an appearance, not a reality. So it is Brahman that alone appears as changing. The Ishavasya Upanishad says, Tad ejati, tad naijati. Tad ejati, that vibrates, that shines, that moves. Tad naijati, that does not move. So what is motionless alone appears as moving. So change or movement is really an appearance of that which in reality does not change or does not move. That's how Ishavasya Upanishad describes. So that was your question, was it?
Yes, and does anybody else have a question?
Swamiji, namaste. Initially, as a Ijnasu or a Mumukshu, we start negating Atma, Anatma like that. But eventually there is only Atman. So at what state we will understand that there is no Anatma, there is only Atma like that?
The first stage is to recognize Atma as distinct from Anatma. Second stage is to recognize Anatma is not different from Atma, not separate from Atma. Like an actor who is performing the role of a beggar, the beggar is not separate from actor. The actor is separate from the beggar. The beggar is mithya, actor is satyam. So that is the relation between Atma and Anatma. Anatma cannot be without Atma, because Atma is independent. So whether Anatma is there or not, Atma is. But Anatma cannot be without Atma. It's like an actor and a beggar. Beggar cannot be without the actor. Actor is an independent entity, can be there without the beggar. Lord Krishna says, Machthani sarabhutani, nachaham te shavastitah, nache machthani bhutani. They are all in me, I am not in them, and they are not in me also. First stage is that the universe is because of Ishvara. But Ishvara is not because of universe. Universe is dependent, Ishvara is independent. Ultimately, what is Ishvara? And there is no universe other than Ishvara. Meaning that first to recognize Atma as distinct from Anatma, then recognizing that Anatma does not have an existence independent of Atma. But Atma alone shines as Anatma. And that there is no Anatma in Atma, so all there is Atma.
So can we extend that to Jagat Mithya, Swamiji?
Anatma means Jagat. Anatma means Jagat.
But when we do a vyavahara, like a transaction, should we act as a anatma only?
Should we treat the world as anatma? It is anatma. And therefore, in the vyavahara, we have to recognize that Atma or I is independent. Anatma is dependent upon me. Therefore, I should not come under their sway. So the wealth and name and fame and power are all anatma. They are all fine as they are, but then I should not come under their sway. They are because of me, I am not because of them. Right now, I think that I am something because of the money. I am something because of power. I am something because of fame. I thought the wealth and power and fame is what makes me what I am. That is what everybody thinks. So more the money, greater I am. More the power, greater I am. That's a wrong formula, a wrong perception. I'm seeking greatness from them. No. I should discover the greatness as I am. This vyavahara is all fine, as long as this kind of thing is clear.
Thank you so much.
Namaste. I'm asking the question that I already submitted. So, yesterday you were made a reference to Ramana Maharshi when he was walking, he hit a dog. And then people around him interpreted that as an act of repelling World War II aggression.
No, that was discovered later.
Oh, okay.
So normally you don't expect Ramana Maharshi to beat up a dog or something.
Yes, yes.
So there was later on it was discovered that very moment.
When he was hitting the dog, that happened or something.
That very moment, an attack was averted on the coast of Chennai.
Okay, so that brings the question: when a Mahatma does act when they don't have to act, how can they be related to these sort of global events? I mean, is it through the will? How did that happen? How did that association happen?
It is the identification of the universe. And therefore, the universe is not apart from him. And that's what, because of that identification, in this case, identification with the country. And therefore, the well-being of the country is something that is in his heart. And so what he did was for the well-being of the country.
Is that an action with associated karma?
No. There is no karma. He doesn't perform karma. It just happens.
It is the same as Atman himself doing something in the Jagat.
Atman can do something only with Maya.
So is it a case where Atman then influenced Maya in repelling that aggression?
All of this aggression is in Maya, repelling aggression also is in Maya, Atman only presides. Meaning that to recognize that there is an aggression also is at the level of Maya. To do something to beat back that aggression also is in Maya.
So what I'm trying to grapple here is there are two events that happen in the Jagat and they are related. So how is the relation happening? Like the hitting the dog and repelling the aggression, how did they two synchronize themselves?
Yeah, by hitting the dog, he was able to accomplish the act of repelling that aggression. So in his mind, the dog stood for aggression. The little act was for repelling the aggression.
So there are no consequences of any karma or any.
As far as Ramana Maharshi is concerned, no.
Okay.
So this is what you asked here. In times of crisis, in times of personal crisis, how important is accepting what is. What is an effective way to remember the self in these times? In times of personal crisis, you have to recognize that the crisis belongs at a given level, that is level of the non-self. Now we have to deal with the crisis. Personal crisis or whatever crisis. We don't dismiss crisis as mithya. If you could do that, then there is no crisis. For a person who recognizes that everything is mithya, there is no crisis. The fact that there is a personal crisis means that I am giving reality to something. I am giving reality to that, the impact that has upon me, that's what we call crisis. Something is happening out there and it has an impact upon me which may be, in my opinion, very damaging. So that's what I would describe as crisis. Personal crisis. Or moments of taking very difficult decisions. Personal crisis. It may involve a choice between two difficult choices. So how important it is? No, it's not accepting what is. In crisis also it is important to maintain a balance of mind. So that we can assess the situation, judge the situation and take an appropriate decision. In Vyavahara, to do what is appropriate is important, and that requires a mind which enjoys a certain poise or composure. I do not become fearful, I do not become excited, do not become angry, etc. And so, what is happening out there, if it doesn't create a reaction in me, important is for me to retain a certain composure of mind, then I will have proper assessment of what is out there and then an understanding of what to do. Every situation requires me to provide an appropriate response. For me to respond appropriately would require me to assess things correct properly. That would require a composure of the mind. So therefore, important thing is, under situations that are difficult also, if I can maintain a composure of mind, then I can assess them properly and then decide what's the right thing to do. Maintaining composure of mind is important. Very difficult. But if we otherwise become controlled, then we lose balance of mind, our judgment is not going to be right. What is happening in this situation of war and somebody shooting? So all these crises is going on, how people are, if we can maintain that balance of mind and do exactly what is to be done. And that's very difficult. But then, a lot of problems come at different levels. In our life also. Basically trying to maintain the balance of mind, not be influenced by that, not react. Then we can assess the situation, make a proper judgment and then respond. Respond and not react as best as we can. Any question on that? Remembering self, etc. is not the point here. When you're doing vyavahara, you are an individual, you're not a self. In vyavahara or interaction with the world, I am taking different roles. So you may be husband, you may be wife, you may be this, that and so forth. And then the crisis all belongs to a role. Problems all belong to a role, not to self. If ideally you can create a distance between the role and the self, then you will be able to be objective with reference to what is going on at the level of role and take proper action. If it becomes the role, then that's what generally happens to us. We become the role. In that case, we cannot have a proper judgment. So reminding myself, not as a self, but as a person playing the role. Understand? I'm playing the role. And this is the situation. You can call it crisis, you can call it a challenge. And more the distance I can create with the role, more composure I will have. And more mature my judgment would be. Does it answer the question?
Not I am the consciousness.
No.
That's very helpful.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Because in vyavahara, we have to deal with vyavahara. If consciousness, there is no vyavahara. The fact that there is a vyavahara and the fact that I am influenced by the vyavahara and I have to do, that means that I have to recognize that yes, as you said, that I am playing the role. Well, yes, you have answered all the questions. And more? Oh. This one? Yeah, okay. For a 66-year-old Jignasu who may not have much time left to learn in depth any pramana, but knows that Atma Vichara is necessary for moksha. Number one, what is the way forward? Number two, what should the focus of Atma Vichara be? Number three, how should this be done? Atma Vichara will require pramana, will require the scripture. Atma Vichara is carried out with the help of Upanishad, with the help of Bhagavad Gita, with the help of Vedantic text, and ideally under the guidance of a teacher. So, Atma Vichara takes place while we are listening to the teacher. Because subject matter of Vedanta is Atma, and therefore understanding the statements of Vedanta amounts to understanding Atma. How do we deliberate upon Atma? How do we vichara upon Atma? By vichara or deliberation upon the statements of Upanishad. Basic statement is Tattvamasi. That's the word, and the number of statements, supporting that. So what we do in studying Vedanta from a teacher is we are deliberating upon the intended meaning of the Vakya or statements of the Upanishad. What is meant by when it says you are Brahman? What does it mean? And what is this Brahman? What does it mean? I am Brahman. What does it mean? The teacher explains, but this is called vichara. Understanding the meaning, the intended meaning of the statements of the Vedanta and basic statement, Tattvamasi. But then Vedanta describes in detail what Tat or what Ishvara is, what Tvam, what Jiva is, what is meant by the identity of the two. And therefore, it doesn't matter how old you are, continue to listen to the teacher and continue to do because Shravanam means vichara. Shravanam, listening to teacher, is nothing but the vichara upon the statements of Upanishads. At home also, then you continue that. And you can support this with other things, like if you are doing puja, japa, etc. All of this is very helpful. They prepare the mind for doing this. So support this effort, if you like, with because any puja or worship is meant for acquiring the grace of Ishvara. So we require Ishvara Kripa. We require 4 kinds of Kripa. Ishvara Kripa, Guru Kripa, Shastra Kripa and Atma Kripa. First is Ishvara Kripa. As Vivekachudamani says, Durlabham trayamevaitat devanugrahetukam manusyatvam mumukshutvam mahapurusha samshraya. These 3 that we have, manusyatvam, a human embodiment, mumukshutvam, the desire to learn, desire to know, mahapurusha samshraya, and then we have samshraya, the refuge of a great person, a teacher. All of this happens by the grace of Ishvara. So grace of Ishvara is important, grace of Guru is important, grace of Shastra is important. All of that ultimately leads to the grace of Atma. And so prayer is an important part of our sadhana. And studying and contemplation is another part. Does it help? Okay.
Grace of Shastra, what does that mean? When you say grace of Shastra, what does that mean?
You see, when we listen to the teacher, when the teacher explains to us the Upanishad or Vedanta, then those words have to be understood. For example, what I am saying right now has to be understood in the mind. That understanding happens when the words reveal their meaning in my mind. See, I don't have the choice. All I do is listening. And the words must reveal their meaning in my mind. When that happens, that's called the Shastra Krupa. Shastra in the form of the words or statements. Surely we have the help of the Guru, everything is there, but still, when the words of scriptures, Yato Vayama, that from which the universe emerges, by which sustains, which it goes back, emerges, becomes one. All the different statements of the Upanishad. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. So these words, meanings are unfolded by the teacher. Ultimately, they should reveal their meaning in my mind. I don't have the freedom. It's a word that has to reveal its meaning in my mind. Of course, for that is required the preparation of mind, the proper samskaras in the mind. And that is my job. My job is our job. Let's go Antahakana Shuddhi. To work on that. And then Shravanam, then the words reveal their meanings. And therefore, it's a pound of punyana Shravanam Kuriyat. Listen to it again and again. Because the mind becomes more and more mature as we go along. And things make more and more sense. You will only read the same book again. A simple book, Tattvabodha. When I read again, wow, did I read this again earlier? We used to write class notes after a year, 6 months or a year when I read it. Did I write this? Because our mind changes and then we understand more and more from what is there. That's why even if you listen to Bhagavad Gita again and again, it's not that I am listening to, I already listened to Bhagavad Gita. Upanishad I have gone through. So Bada Swamiji said, you have gone through Upanishad, have Upanishads gone through you? So they have to go through us. Therefore, listening again and again, it's not, you never listen to the same thing, hopefully. You have changed. That way it makes more sense. Yes.
It was a follow-up question what Radha asked you. First, are you first a jigyasu and then a mumukshu, or you're first a mumukshu and then become a jigyasu?
You first mumukshu, then become jignasu. Mumukshu is desirous for moksha. Everybody is a mumukshu basically. But that mumukshutvam, when it becomes mature, you become a jignasu. So Arjuna was a mumukshu, then became jignasu when he went through, the thinking took place, etc. Then we asked a question of Lord Krishna. So that was jignasa.
I was thinking the other way around, so that clarified.
Everybody is mumukshu from beginning. Everybody wants moksha. But what moksha is, that understanding creates the jignasa.
Yes, Swamiji, can you explain Ishwar Kripa and Atma Kripa, the difference?
Ishwar Kripa is by which we get the as a human birth, desire to learn, no desire to learn. It's a very rare thing. Love for learning, love for Shastra, love for Ishvara, Guru, all of these because of Ishwar Kripa. Then comes the Kripa of Guru, and then from that comes the Kripa of Shastra. You get the Guru by grace of Ishvara. By his grace you understand scriptures, and that's how Shastra understood by you, that is Shastra Kripa. Which subject matter of Shastra is Atma. Atma Kripa is the last. Atma becomes favorable to you, then the job is done. Thus reveals yourself. Tasyeva Atma Vivrutate Tanum Swam. The self reveals its true nature to this one. So that's the last Atma Kripa.
Since nobody is asking a question, I wanted to. Something has been nagging me in the other question I had. So there were the aggressors and the defenders from the action standpoint, and then there is Ramana Maharshi and the dog. So the aggressors and the defenders have actions, and that is clear. The aggressors have karma for what they did. The defenders will have actions for what they did, good, bad, etc. When you come to the dog that took the hit, the dog had to face an action. Is there any karma to the dog for that?
Karma is already born with all its... The dog is born with all the karma. And so what it goes through its life is all due to karma. Not as dog's karma. When he was a human being in the past sometime.
But this action of taking a hit, did it change anything towards it, karma in a good or a bad way?
That was the fructification of some karma phala.
Ramana Maharshi, of course, would not get any karma phala.
No.
Okay. All right.
Because it was totally an action which was for well-being of the universe. There was nothing in him, nothing in it for him. What? This was just a little story. You don't keep on going on with dog and stuff like that, just a little thing, You don't have to worry karma and karma phala. Don't apply this to everything. This was just a simple story that I said,
This is a related question. I heard you say that Brahman can't do anything without Maya. And when Maya arises, Ishvara arises. This is what I'm understanding. Okay, so therefore all the apparent jivas,
Brahman cannot do, Brahman doesn't do also.
he doesn't do anything at any time even though Maya is present. Okay, but it seems as if Brahman is doing because of Maya. It's a seeming reality, correct?
Brahman appears to be doing to us.
Right.
Meaning what is done at the level of Maya is sought to take place at the level of Brahman. Maya adhyakshenas prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Lord Krishna says that I am the adhyaksha. I just exist, I shine. And prakriti or the Maya creates, sustains, dissolves.
So on the level of the jiva, we were speaking about this dog thing, right? And some violence far away was resolved. On the level of the jivas can unite and actually pray because the bodies are composed of earth, fire, water, earth, and space, right? We are Maya and personified, seemingly. So jivas can come together and actually affect the universe with prayers, pujas, and meditation. Correct? Am I understanding this correctly?
Yeah, because same jivas are destroying also by negative karma. Jivas alone are destroying anyway, so they can certainly create a positive effect also.
Thank you so much.
Swamiji, when you said that human beings, because of their action, they become an animal, like a dog. How do dogs earn papa punya? So how can they come out of that cycle and become a human being? Or do they have atma also?
Everything is there. It's the same jiva. Sometime he was a human being, and then come. The point is, the entire trajectory of dog's life is all determined, and therefore it doesn't have to do anything. It follows just the prarabdha, which. So everybody lives life according to prarabdha. Only human being has this purushartha. Otherwise, everything else follows the prarabdha. Destiny.
So do animals also have atma?
Of course, I can become an animal with my karma. Atma is, of course, everything is an atma. Without atma, nothing can exist. Even rocks, insentient, everything has existence. Asti, bhati, priyam. Why are you laughing? Yeah. Laughing club, yeah. Huh? I don't think that my voice will go. I'll try, but moment there'll be coughing and all sorts of things, unfortunately. I don't know. So this year we have begun that way. Well, request somebody to sing.
One simple question.
Jarur.
Do you think any time, anywhere, ant or maybe a basic, simple keda can become a man anytime? What that person, that type of ant should do to become a man?
Ant need not do. See, the way to explain this is this. When a human being dies, the Jivatma leaves his body, the entire trajectory from him to pass through different stages and to come back to Jivatma is already determined by karma. Therefore the karma works itself out. The most predominant karma will first work and make him whatever Suppose most predominant karma is for him to become an angel, that's what he'll become. That karma is exhausted, next powerful karma will make him something else, third powerful, fourth powerful, and like that ultimately he'll come back to human being. Then again he'll perform karma, create his own destiny. Do you understand?
Swamiji, it took me a while to understand this, but I want to clarify that I've understood it correctly. I originally thought that a person living a life without doing any adharma and doing the duty of a householder and leading a non, let's say, violent life, like would be good enough to achieve, moksha or being able to get a better life and so on. So we eventually reach moksha that way. But it does seem to me over time that growth is kind of the key to achieving moksha. Whether you achieve it in one life or 10 lives, you have to grow. And it's up to you. And many of us don't feel that imperative to grow. We do feel the imperative to learn and study and listen to Vedanta almost as like we go to class and we are listening and listening and listening, but we don't put the same effort into growing and growing and growing and achieving moksha in this life itself. Am I wrong here?
Yeah. What do you mean by growing?
Well, whatever Swamiji has said, things like maturity, objectivity, the value of values. It seems to me like there is no alternative to growth. And that message hit me only after a while, but I just want to be sure that's what you mean.
Yes. Growth means emotional maturity or antahakana shuddhi. So along with study and whatever else we are doing, this also should be pursued, the purification of mind, making the mind free from ragadveshas. And that is by Ishwar Kripa. So whether it is prayers, whether it is karma yoga and various things, but ragadveshas will go by Ishwar Kripa. And that also must be pursued actively. Right. What Pujya Swami says, emotional maturity is progressive freedom from ragadveshas.
The follow-up to that is, Swamiji did used to say, and I used to worry about this a lot, sanchita karma. The fact that I can burn up my prarabdha, whatever I've taken on in this life, but there is still a lot to burn up. And do you think knowledge alone, which is I am free from the doership, I submit all of the fruits of my actions to the God, all of these alone will burn up my sanchita, or do you think the sanchita will have to be burnt up by the next life and so on?
Sanchita also will be burnt. By this, our sanchita karma, etc., basically will not be a question if we get liberated in this life anyway.
But how does that get burnt up is the question.
Sanchita doesn't have to get burnt up when you don't have kartrutva, then there is nobody. Sanchita have nothing to do. There is nobody to act upon.
That is indeed good news.
Yeah?
That is indeed good news.
Yeah, of course it is. And don't worry about this karma business. I will forget. I never bother about karma. And sanchita, they are all for these all accounting purposes. And I would worry about the present and do what remains requires to be done.
Thank you, Swamiji.
All right, so switch off the light. We'll try to sing if it works out. You have to repeat after me. Shri Ram 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 Raghunandana He Ghanshyam Shri Shri Ram 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 Raghunandana He Ghanshyam Shri Ghanshyam Shri Ram 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 Raghunandana He Ghanshyam Shri Ram Shri Ram Jaya Jaya 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 Ram Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavan Sita Ram Patita Patita Pavan Sita Ram Shri Ram Jaya Jaya 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 Ram Shri Ram Ram Raghunandana He Ghanshyam Shri Ram Shri Ram Ram Raghunandana He Ghanshyam Shri Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram. Patita Pavan Sita Ram. Patita Pavan Sita Ram. Patita Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhaved Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamaya Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.